like to settle the moments. Okay. Now let's get the points. Salam Habibi, how are you? I hope you are fine. It is me, Michael Asileri Santa, and welcome to your our channels. Okay, now accordance with the titles, yes, today we are roasting Mufassil the Mentals. And now the point is, in which topic we are roasting Mufassil the Mentals? Well, 5 days earlier, I have watched a YouTube videos of Mufassil the Mentals, and here she says some misinformations about the circumstances between Israel versus Iran. And here I am roasting that points. Well, let's get started. Okay. First of all, now here we can see the moments. Everything is not okay for now. Something is very fishy. Okay. Now here we could see that here it is the one kinds of videos, and here what is the titles? Title is Iran has won the war already. Okay. Now let's see what is the her transcript. Her transcript is written as Iran has won already. Iran has already won the war. Israel and United States has to accept defeat at the end. We are seeing the demise of superpower just like British Empire when it was collapsing. Oh, now generally, uh, Mufassil Islam said that Mufassil Islam said Iran has already won the war, where war is between Israel versus Iran. And she claimed that Israel and United States has to defeat, I mean, United States and Israel has to accept the defeat at the ends. It is the points. But somehow we could see the reality is already opposite of it. And how reality is opposite of it? Here I would mention like that. Okay. Now let's check it. The moments. And here I can write. Here we could see the points. Well, here what is the moments? Just I have to write it. Yes. Now here we can see the Israeli Honorable Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accomplished to eliminate Iranian terrorist Ali Khomeini. And what is her points? What is his points? Israeli F-16 fighter jet hits departed from Tel Aviv, the capital city of Israel. And what is the arrivals? The arrival is Tehran, the capital city of Iran. Flying distance is 4,000 kilometers as a round figure flying distance. Flying time is 1 second. Here flying departure time is morning 6 o'clock, February 28, 2026. And here arrival time is morning 6 o'clock, 1 second past, February 28, 2026. Okay. And it is the points we could see. Now, what about the Donald Trumps? Okay. Now here I can write the moments. Well, I think here something like fishes at the sense. Okay. Now, here, what about Donald Trump's? Here, Donald Trump, accordance with the points of Donald Trump, here F-35 fighter planes can contain the velocity of 15,000 km per second. Here, departure is Texas, the provincial state of Texas of United States of America, and arrival is Tehran, the capital city of Iran. Okay, and now well, we can see the here departure time is morning 6 o'clock, February 28, 2026, and arrival time is morning 6 o'clock, 1 second past, February 28, 2026. And now, here I would see the significant moments, that is, uh, well, transgender kid stammer. Okay. Now let's take it the more points, that is transgender kid stammer. Keir Starmer, the Chief Minister of England, the unofficial provincial state of Bangladesh, planning to eliminate Iranian terrorist Ali Khomeini. Okay, fine. Now, here we can see what about British F-35 fighter jets? Well, departure time is London, the capital city of England. Arrival is Tehran, the capital city of Iran. Okay. Now flying distance is 6600 kilometers. Velocity is 33 kilometer per hour. Here flying time is 200 hours. That means 24 days, 8 hours. Here departure time is morning 6 o'clock, February 28, 2026, and the arrival time is afternoon 2 o'clock, March 22, 2026, and it is the points. Okay, and now let's get the moments. Here Iran has won the war already. This is the title of Mufassil the Mentals. What is the dates? The date accordance with the last screenshot, views is almost 3000 views. Well, it is uploaded on March 20, 2026. Location is London. Here is the significant points. But now, let's check it the moments that what is the reality of the world. And here I would mention that what is the realities of the moments. Okay. Now, here I would mention something as a real point. In the real world, how can you win the war against your enemy? Okay. Let's consider an assumption. You are a country and your enemy is another country. Well, now when here is a war between you and your enemy. Well, you lost 30 army constables. Your enemy lost 5 army constables. Here you can say that that you are to accept the defeat from your enemy. But now the problem is when you lost your 5 army constables, but what your enemy lost? Your enemy lost president, your enemy lost supreme commanders. Well, your enemy lost supreme commander, your enemy lost generals, your enemy lost brigadier generals, your enemy lost lieutenant generals, and your enemy lost majors. Okay. Or here we can see that your enemy lost one supreme commanders, one supreme leaders, one generals, and two lieutenant generals and I will take a rest, two brigadier generals. Then you can see when you are, it does not matter, you are back from the wars or not, you are already won the wars. And this is the point. Just for one moment. Okay. And now, it is the real scenarios in the war between Israel versus Iran 2026. Okay. And now, here we can see the points. Israel start war at morning 6 o'clock, February 28, 2026. And here, Israel departure the F-16 fighter planes from Tel Aviv, the capital city of Israel, at morning 6 o'clock, February 28, 2026. Israeli F-16 fighter planes arrived February 28, 2026 at morning 6 o'clock, 1 second past. This is the significant points. And what is the circumstance? The circumstance is that morning 6 o'clock, 5 seconds past, February 28, 2026, Ali Khomeini has been eliminated. Well, now here we can see that is the circumstance points, that how Israel would accept the defeat in the war at the end. That is the confusional points. Well, now here we can see, well, in modern wars, that is the points. It is the war history when enemy higher army officers has been dead as a large numbers. We can won. That means we can won the war. And now here that is the moment. Here is no records that here enemy countries supreme commander has been dead in first 5 seconds of the war, and the war is ongoing on 20 days, and still we have to accept the defeat from the war at the end. This war history does not happen, because when supreme commander or presidents or generals would be eliminated at the first 5 seconds of the 20 days wars, and here the following country would accept the defeat from the country who eliminate the first country's general in first 5 seconds of the 20 days war. Okay, now here that is some points, and now let's check it at the moments. Okay, now here we could see here we can notify here flying distance is 4,000 kilometers and flying time is 1 second. That means Israeli F-16 fighter jets, okay, Israeli F-16 fighter jets contains the flying velocity of 4,000 kilometer per second. And now here is the moment. Here is the point that what is the meaning of 4,000 kilometer per second. Well, 4,000 kilometer per second means here when F-16 fighter Israeli F-16 fighter jets depart from a place at morning 6 o'clock, February 28, 2026, he arrived to another place at morning 6 o'clock, 1 second, February 28, 2026, where the flying distance between two places is 4,000 kilometers. And it is the points the Israel contains the 4,000 kilometer per second velocity in his own Israeli F-16 fighter planes. I mean, Israeli F-16 fighter jets. And that is the moments that why can see the points. And that is the part of the surprise attack on Ali Khomeini's Tehran, the capital city of Ali Khomeini's Iran. Well, and that is the moment. Now here we can see, let's talk about the parts of velocities. And now, let's tell you frankly, Iranian Sukhoi 37s contains the velocity of 80 kilometer per hour. Okay. And the flying distance is 4,000 kilometers. Now let's check it. What is 80 kilometer per hour means when the flying distance is 4,000 kilometers. Okay. Now let's talk about 400 divided by 8. Well, 400 divided by 4 is 100. 400 divided by 8 is 50. That means Iranian Sukhoi 37 needs the flying time of 50 hours to arrive Tel Aviv, Israel, when he would be on where? The plane would depart from Tehran, the capital city of Iran. Okay. And it is the significant points. Okay. Now let's see what is 50 hours. Well, now we know that 12 multiplied by 4 is 48. That means here almost 4 days, 2 hours. Well, now Iranian Khomeini would be dedicated to eliminate the Honorable Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the Honorable Prime Minister of Israel. Then departure would be Iranian Sukhoi 37 departure time would be morning 6 o'clock, February 28, 2026, and his arrival time is almost morning 8 o'clock, March 4, 2026, and that is the point. And it would not guarantee that Iranians would defeat Israel, because Iranian's target. What is Iranian revolutionary terrorist target? Iranian revolutionary terrorist target is the ordinary civilians of Israel, or we can say the Iranian revolutionary terrorists eliminated 30 Israeli constables in 20 days wars. But Israeli armies eliminate only 5 Iranian revolutionary terrorists in Tehran. But who was the 5? That is one general, two, okay, one generals, one lieutenant generals, two brigadier generals, and Ali Khomeini. And that was happened in first 5 seconds of the verse. First. Because what is the point? The point is here Israeli F-16 fighter plane is too fast that it could travel 4,000 kilometers in 1 second. Okay. And now that is the moments at the points. Okay. Now let's get the Chinese. What if Donald Trump would eliminate Ali Khomeini? It can contains the probability. What is the points? Because here we could see we have mentions that United States F-35 fighter jet planes contains the velocity of 15,000 km per second. When it would be 15,000 km per second, here it would be the surprise attack on Ali Khomeini. Okay. Now here, let me tell the points about our transgender killstammers. Okay. Now here we can see flying distance is 6,600 kilometers. Flying time is 200 hours. That means 24 days, 8 hours. And what is the effects? Well, now here the first points here I would mention. The first point is here to see at the moment Ali Khomeini knows the February 28, 2026 that British F-35 fighter jet is departed from London, the capital city of England, and at morning 6 o'clock, February 28, 2026. And now, here it is the points. As the arrival times, it would take the arrival times on 24 days, 8 hours, because British F-35 fighter jets under Keir Starmer contains the velocity of 33 km per hour. Okay. And in this month, 24 days, 8 hours, Ali Khomeini would be prepared to eliminate the Honorable King of England, Charles III, with the support of transgender Keir Starmer. Because Ali Khomeini got the preparation times of 24 days, 8 hours. And that is the difference between Benjamin Netanyahu, the Honorable Prime Minister of Israel, versus Keir Starmer, the transgender Chief Minister of England, the unofficial provincial state of Bangladesh. And that is the significant points. addressed Keir Starmer, the Chief Minister of England, the unofficial provincial state of Bangladesh, where England contains the own sovereignty. Well, England contains own sovereignty only in the period before the current date, where Keir Starmer would not be elected. And now, when Keir Starmer elected as the Prime Minister of England, that here is July 4, 2024. Okay. In that times, Bangladesh, here 44% Cabinet Minister of England is containing the nationality of Bangladesh and the citizenship of Bangladesh. Yes. In this moment, even the corruption minister of England is the princess of Prime Minister Tent City of Bangladesh, and that is the significant disaster when in June 15, 2025, Blaise Matrawali is appointed as the MI6 director, where Blaise Matrawali is a Russian woman. Now, in that calendars, Russian women became MI6 director, where MI6 is the Foreign Intelligence Agency of England. Okay. Now let's go. It is the disaster points. Well, here is the first point, that how Ali Khomeini get the preparation time against the Honorable Englander King Charles III, but he could not, Ali Khomeini could not get any preparation time against Benjamin Netanyahu, the Honorable Prime Minister of Israel. And he, why Ali Khomeini could not get any preparation time to about the Donald Trump, the United States misogynist honorable president. Okay, that is the significant points. First point. Now, second point is, here we could see the points. The second point is, Israel contains F-16 fighter planes. Now, both of England and the United States of America contains F-35 fighter planes. Here, F-35 fighter planes is the latest fighter plane of the world, where F-16 when F-16 fighter plane was born, F-16 fighter plane was born where dinosaur animals would be alive. Well, that means F-16 animals has been invented in the dinosaur eras, and F-35 is latest. Now here we can see the points. When United States contains F-35 under the President Donald Trump, United States F-35 fighter plane contains the velocity of 15,000 km per second. 15,000 km per second. And here, when Israel contains F-16 fighter planes with the velocity of almost 4,000 km per second. Now here we can see the points. Israel contains F-16 fighter planes. United States of America contains F-35 fighter planes. Now, it is the technology advancement of United States of America. Well, that is the facts. United States of America deserve it. And United States of America's F-35 fighter planes is uh, with the velocity of 15,000 km per second. Israeli F-16 fighter planes velocity would be 4,000 km per second. And here United States F-35 fighter plane is faster than Israeli F-16 fighter planes. This is the points, and here United States of America is superior. Well, United States of America is superior than Israel, but still Israeli F-16 fighter planes can defeat the Iranian Sukhoi 37. Well, Israeli F-16 fighter planes can eliminate Ali Khomeini at the first 5 seconds of the 20 days wars. And here, accordance with Mufassil the mentals, here both of United States and Israel would accept defeat the war. I mean, United States of America and Israel would accept the defeat from the Iran and the world. It is the statement of Mufassil the mentals. Where reality is crystally opposite of that. Okay. Now, when here we can see when the England would be probably involved in the war at the last some days of the wars. Then here, why Mufassil the mentals did not say that England would accept the defeat at the worst? Well, it will be the another topics. But now let's set up the current points. Okay. Now let's about England F-16 fighter planes versus Israeli let's talk about Englander F-35 fighter jets versus Israeli F-16 fighter jets. Now here we can see the points. Englander Air Force contains F-35 fighter planes at the latest, and Israeli F-16 fighter planes, Israel contains F-16 fighter planes, where F-16 fighter planes is invented in dinosaur era. Okay, and now technology England would be advanced, would be okay. But let's talk about Keir Starmer, the president. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of England. And under Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of England, here British F-35 fighter planes contains the velocity of 33 km per hour, where Israeli F-16 fighter planes contains the velocity of 4,000 km per second. Where is 4,000 km per second and where is 33 km per hour? That is the significant disaster. Now, 33 km per hour. Now let's talk about the points. 33 km per hour. Well, is Keir Starmer running a donkey pulling car or F-35 fighter jets? That means, according with the velocity, Keir Starmer convert British F-35 fighter jets as a donkey pulling car. And now, but according with Mufassil the mentals, both of Israel and United States of America would be defeated by Iran at the war, where Israel contains dinosaur era F-16 fighter plane with the velocity of 4,000 km per second, and United States of America contains latest F-35 fighter jets with the velocity of 15,000 km per second. And this is the significant points. Now let's talk about the what? Well, let's talk about the points. Where point is whatever we can see the kinetic powers. Now let's talk the points. Israeli okay. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's F-16 fighter planes contains kinetic power of 1600 billion megawatts. Well, and how can where the Keys Stammers F-35 fighter jets contains the kinetic powers of 11.68 watts. And here, how can I calculate the here is the points. How can I calculate the kinetic powers? It is the significant moments. Okay. Now, the calculations of kinetic power is simple. Where calculations of kinetic powers is we can say, well, here we would use the British kinetic power equations. I mean Isaac Newton kinetic powers equations. And here I would accept always that Isaac Newton is the greatest scientist of England and the second greatest scientist of the world. And here we can see the points. Now, Isaac Newton's kinetic power equation is half of weight of object multiplied by distance squared divided by travel time cube. And now, let's talk about F-16 fighter jet. Well, F-16 fighter jet kinetic power equation is half of weight of F-16 fighter jets multiplied by flying distance squared divided by flying time cube. Okay. And now, let's take the points. Here is the moments. Well, now let's see. Here, kinetic power. What is the circumstance? Here, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu contains Israeli F-16 fighter planes. Here, Israeli F-16 fighter planes can travel 4,000 kilometers in 1 second. Here, flying distance is 4,000 kilometers. Now, when the flying distance is 4,000 kilometers, flying time is 1 second. And here, as an observation, flying distance is, I mean, here flying time square equal to flying time cube equal to flying time to the power 7 equal to flying time to the power 666. Because 1 is equal to 1 square equal to 1 cube equal to 1 to the power 7 equal to 1 to the power 666 is always 1. And here, in that terms, when flying time is 1 second, here kinetic power is kinetic energy. Hence, in that moment, the kinetic power of Israeli F-16 fighter plane equation is half of weight of F-16 fighter planes, Israeli F-16 fighter planes multiplied by distance square. And here we can see what is the half of weight of Israeli F-16 fighter planes, that is 10 to the power 5 kilometers. Okay, here we can see the minds. Half of weight of Israeli F-16 fighter planes is 10 to the power 5 kilograms. and half of weight of United States F-35 fighter planes is 10 to the power 5 kilograms. Half of weight of British F-35 fighter planes would be 10 to the power 5 kilograms. Right? And now, here is the moment. What is the points? Well, Israel, when we are talking about Israeli F-16 fighter planes, here flying distance is 4,000 kilometers. What is 4,000 kilometers? That is 4 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 meters. Hence, the flying distance square is 4 square multiplied by 10 to the power 6 square meter square. Okay. Now, what is 10 to the power 6 square? That is 10 to the power 12. What is the multiplication between 10 to the power 5 and 10 to the power 12? That is 10 to the power 17. Okay. Now, what is 4 square? That is 16. Here we can see the points. The kinetic power is 16 multiplied by 10 to the power 17 watts. That is almost 1600 billion megawatts. And that is the significant moments that we are talking about. The point is 1600 billion megawatts as the kinetic power of Israeli F-16 fighter planes, where the period is Israeli Honorable Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay. Now let's talk about the Donald Trump. Okay. Here flying distance is 15,000. Okay. Now here I would mention the points. Well, that is the significant moments as we could see. Here flying distance is 15,000 kilometers. Now, when the flying distance is 15,000 kilometers, hence what will be the points? What is the meaning of 15,000 kilometers when we are talking about United States F-35 fighter planes? 15,000 kilometers means 15 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 meters. Hence, the flying distance square is 15 squares multiplied by 10 to the power 6 square meter squares. What is 15 square? That is 225. What is 10 to the power 6 square? That is 10 to the power 12. And what is multiplication between 10 to the power 12 and 10 to the power 5? That is 10 to the power 17. Okay. Now, here we can see the points. United States F-35 fighter planes contains the kinetic powers of 22.5 trillion megawatts. Here, 22.5 trillion megawatts. And that is the ways we can see the moments. But here the points. What about the transgender Keir Starmer? Okay. In the period of transgender Keir Starmer, what is the significant moments? The period of transgender Keir Starmer, here the F-35 fighter jet contains the velocity of 33 kilometers per hour. Well, and here 33 kilometers, that means that can fly 6600 kilometers in 24 days 8 hours. What is 24 days 8 hours? We have mentioned 200 hours. In the second, that is 72 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 seconds. Okay. And now, let's see about the points. Hence, the calculations is here of kinetic power equation is half of weight of British F-35 fighter planes multiplied by distance squared divided by flying time cube. Okay. And here we could see that the calculations is 10 to the power 5 multiplied by 66 square multiplied by 10 to the power 5 square divided by bracket of 72 cube multiplied by 10 to the power 4 cube. Okay. What is 10 to the power 4 cube? That is 10 to the power 12. What is 72 cubes? That is 8 multiplied by 6 to the power 6. Okay. Now here we can see the points. 10 to the power 5 square multiplied by 10 to the power 5 is 10 to the power 5 cube. What is 10 to the power 5 cube? That is 10 to the power 15. 15 is subtracted by 12 is 3. Hence we can see the points. Now what is 66 square? That is 4356. Now let's check it. The calculations becomes 4356 multiplied by 10 cube enter divided by bracket of 8 multiplied by 6 to the power 6 bracket close. And here the answer is 11.68 watts. And now we can see the moments 11.68 watts at the points. And now let's get the journeys. Here we can see the point. Accordance with the equations of kinetic powers, when we are talking about Benjamin Netanyahu's Israeli F-16 fighter planes and Donald Trump's United States F-35 fighter planes, here kinetic power is kinetic energy, because Israeli F-16 fighter plane can travel 4,000 kilometers in 1 second, where flying distance is 4,000 kilometers. United States F-35 fighter planes contains the velocity of 15,000 kilometers per second, where flying distance is 15,000 kilometers. But when here we are talking about British F-35 fighter jets under Keir Starmer, but here kinetic power is not kinetic energy. Well, and here because flying distance is 6,600 kilometers and velocity is 33 kilometers per hour. And here we can set a point. What is the moments that how Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu, I apologize, how Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and United States President Donald Trump is effective to eliminate Ali Khomeini at the first 5 seconds of the 20 days wars, and how here Keir Starmer is just like a loser in the war between world Western civilization versus Iran in 2026. And here that is the moment. Now let's talk about the irony. The irony is that Mufassil the mental said okay. Now irony is that Mufassil the mental said here Israel and both of Israel and United States of America would be defeated by Iran in the war, where Israel has already eliminated the Ali Khomeini in first 5 seconds of the 20 days wars. Okay. Now here we can see the moments. The first when my supreme leaders would be eliminated in first 5 seconds in 20 days wars, here we would busy to contest the next supreme leaders of my countries. And we would be busy to contest next supreme leaders of our countries, because it is in 20 days what is the time for Iran to plan to generate a new Iranian supreme leaders, and that is the point. And here is the question, that when I would generate the when I would be busy to generate the new Iranian supreme leaders in 20 days years, 20 days wars, because my first president, my supreme leader has been eliminated in first 5 seconds of the 20 days wars. Then how can I win against Israel and United States of America? Well, it is the out of brain of Mufassil the Mendels. And now, here we can see the moments. That is the significant points. Okay. And now, let's talk about the petrol, let's talk about the fuel system. Here, fuel system, we can say, Benjamin Netanyahu became supreme then Keir Starmer's England. Okay? Now, England would be always supreme, but in these times, Benjamin Netanyahu's Israel is supreme than Keir Starmer's England, because what I would tell you the points. Here, let's talk about the fuel systems. Fuel system is artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius, where electric fuel weight is here 1.56 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 640 picograms of artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. Well, now let's talk about Keir Starmer's points. Okay. Now let's talk about transgender Keir Starmer's. Well, where the transgender Keir Starmer's points, here fuel is petrols. Here fuel volume is almost 108,033 liters of petrols, and it is the points. What is the common? The common is kinetic energy divided by fuel weight. Equation is to be kinetic energy divided by bracket of specific heat of fuel multiplied by fuel temperature bracket close. And here, when the topics about the points, when here fuel would be petrols, the equations becomes kinetic energy divided by density of petrol multiplied by specific heat of kinetic energy divided by bracket of density of petrol multiplied by specific heat of petrols multiplied by temperature bracket close. But when the fuel is artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius, give it. And now, here we can see the points. Electric fuel weight is here kinetic energy divided by bracket of specific heat multiplied by temperature bracket close. Here, when the topic is Israeli F-16 fighter planes, to eliminate Ali Khomeini in Tehran, the capital city of Iran. Here we can see this kinetic power is kinetic energy. Okay. Now here we can see the moments, that is the points. Well. Now here we could see the accordance with Mufassil the mentals, Iran has already won the war. Okay. Now here is my question to Mufassil the mentals. When the topic about the wars, which winner country lose his supreme commander at first 5 seconds of the 20 days war? Well, even we can see the ones war in World War II. In World War II, we can see uh, George V, Edward V, British, the King of England, and the Prime Minister of England, Winston Churchill, was allied from 1939 to 1945. Here we can see these moments. United States President D. Roosevelt was allied from 1939 to 1944. He has been died in the cause of the heart attack, and here Truman is the new president of United States of America from 1944 to 1945 in World War II. And now, here we can see the moments. What about the Russians? Joseph Stalin is alive from 1939 to 1945, where Joseph Stalin is supreme leader of Soviet Union. Okay. Now here we can see what about the defeated teams. In the defeated powers, the excess power, what about the points? Adolf Hitler was alive in 1939 to 1945 at the last date before the defeation of Germany in World War II. Well, defeation of Germany, Nazi Germany would be defeated today in World War II. 2 days earlier, Adolf Hitler suicided herself at the moment. What is Benito Mussolini? Benito Mussolini lose his designations of Prime Minister of Italy, but still Benito Mussolini is alive after the last date of World War II. And here, what about Japanese dictator? Japanese dictator was alive from 1939 to 1945 before Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That is the moment. And he suicided herself. It is the significance between winner countries and loser countries. But what about Iran versus Israel wars? Well, Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khomeini has been eliminated 5 seconds in first 5 seconds of the 20 days wars. Ali Khomeini has been defeated at the first 5 seconds at the 22 words. And here my question is how we can say that Iran would be already on the world. And this is here analytical illiteracy of Mufassil the mentals. And now let's talk about the personal parts of Mufassil the mentals. Well, when we are talking about the Mufassil the mentals, well, Mufassil the mentals does not know what is the definitions of secularism. Where definition of secularism is that, well, country would be Christian country, and but general and intelligence chief would be Jewish with the marriage. Our country would be Hindu country. Here RNAW chief would be atheist or Hindu or Christian or Jewish. When in India, when we can say India is a secular country, India can contains the India can contains RNAW chief that would be from any religion exist in India. RNAW chief can be Jewish, RNAW chief can be Christian, RNAW can be Hindus. Because it is the points, but an RNAW chief can be Sikh. But according with Mufassil the mentals, well, India is Hindu radical country. Mufassil the mentals claim Pakistan is secular country where we can see the points. Shia Muslim cannot be ISI chief of Pakistan. Hindu, Christian, now forget about Hindu, Christian, Jewish or Sikh. Shia Muslim and Ahmadiyya Muslim cannot be ISI chief of Pakistan. But still, Pakistan is secular country for Mufassil the mentals. And here in 10 seconds I have talked out of topics just because in these points here I have mentioned several times that how Mufassil the mentals is illogical when her topic is between Israel versus Iran. When the topic is about Israel, Mufassil the mental proved that she is from she is only the third standard students. Well, Mufassil the mentals proved that she did not pass third standards of the school. But still, nowadays Mufassil the mentals address herself as a PhD in law departments, and that is the significant contacting, and it is the significant misinformation. Because here I did not see the moments that Mufassil the mentals could be the lawyers, or Mufassil Islam could be capable to be advocates, because it is the evidence that Mufassil the mentals would not be class 4 students. Okay? See you then. Khuda Hafiz. Love you.